Hi there, Scarlett here from the Clay and Press. I wanted to talk to you all today about how to make sure you do not get clay stuck in your super detailed cutters. I find that people have a really hard time, especially with cutters that have any flat debossers like this one, especially if there's thin areas. So this is a stickler. Let's get to it. The first and most important thing is that the cutting surface that you are working on is smooth. This is glass. I've got some fabric behind it, but this is glass. It's just picture glass. You can use a glass tile as long as the tile is completely smooth, no texture. You want your clay to adhere very well to that surface. So I put these pieces of clay down, I rolled them down gently with my roller, and they're not going to come up unless I put some effort into it. First of all, I have put out Sculpey 3 today because it is the stickiest clay that I own. So I wanted to just like really challenge these methods that I'm going to show you here today. So I use cornstarch. Some people use water to make sure that their cutters do not stick to their clay. I think it works fine, but when you get really detailed ones, cutters that have really tiny little areas, or if you're working with Fimo, you probably want to try cornstarch rather than water. I always have a little paintbrush like this nearby. I use both the ends of the paintbrush all the time for things. So I'm going to start out by adding a little bit of cornstarch just all over my clay. Just a light dusting. I'll knock off the extra stuff. It doesn't need to be like it's not dough, but we don't want it to be sticky to the touch. The next step is to take the cutter and just go ahead and dip it right in your cornstarch. And in order to look, you don't need all that. That's absurd. In order to get it out, just tap from the top. Just give it a nice tap. Turn it over, see if there's any in the cracks. You just want to get it so that it's coated but not impacted, like there's a little bit over here. So I definitely don't recommend that people take their cutters and bang them on the cutting surface. If you don't end up hitting very evenly straight down, you could ding the cutting blade and then it won't make these really beautiful clean cuts. Sometimes having the cornstarch on the clay and cornstarch on your cutter is enough, but this is really sticky clay, so we'll see. So I'm going to press it down, give it a little wiggle, and that seemed to work okay. I can see the glass all the way around my my snowflake there, so it worked well and it didn't stick. If I did not use any cornstarch at all, that would be a mess to get out. Alright, I'm just going to pull this adorable little pink snowflake out of here and move my camera. Okay, next we're gonna do the half press method. I know that this one sticks. I've used this one a lot and it likes to stick up in the top. So I've already dusted my cutter with cornstarch. I've got a little bit of cornstarch on my clay. So half press method, you just put your cutter down, give it a nice half press. I don't know, quarter press, doesn't really matter how far. But you can see it's pressed, it's made an impression, but none of the debossing has quite made it. So that's, I don't know, we'll say that's about half. I take some cornstarch with a brush and I just kind of dust it. And just take my finger and I just rub it around there. What I'm trying to do is put cornstarch in the impression that was left by my cutter. So I'm kind of like filling in the cracks. I really want to make sure that there is something preventing this very sticky clay from sticking my cutter when I go and I push the cutter all the way down the second time. So just be kind of gentle and get your cutter realigned and make sure it's in the exact same spot. It's pretty secure, so I know it's in the same spot. So I'm going to give it a full press now and give it a patented wiggle. And I promise, if I had not done the half press method, there's just no way that this wouldn't have gotten stuck. And you can see that there's just a little bit of cornstarch stuck down there. It did its job. It stayed in the cracks and it did not let this come up off the glass. So I'm just gonna kind of pull this up and show you. It's so soft because it's Sculpey 3, but show you how it did. It's really like it it did great. Of course I'm distorting it because I'm just being an oaf, but you can see that it works really well. I'm really happy that this works. This works with 100% of the cutters that I have tried that have just so much detail, lots of flat debossing. If you are doing this half press method and you find that you are still having a hard time and it is still sticking in your cutter, there's a couple things that might be going on. Perhaps your clay is just too sticky. It is just really soft, really sticky. There's no amount of cornstarch in the world that's going to keep it from sticking to your cutters. You need to leach it. Just go ahead, put it between 2 pieces of printer paper for a couple hours and get some of that excess plasticizer and oils out of there. Something else that might be going on, and this is something that's pretty sad for a lot of people, Sculpey Soufflé has microbeads in it, and those microbeads that make the clay feel super soft to the touch and really fun to play with also make it so that it does not stick very well to your cutting surface. So I find that if you're having trouble and you're using Soufflé, if you switch to Primo or Cernit or Fimo, you try the same methods with the exact same cutter, you're going to have way less of a problem. I think that's all that I think that's it. I think that's all I can help you with. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I am sure that this is going to work for you.